Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Finspan, but before we do, we just want to remind you to subscribe so you can see all our videos as they come out. Finspan is designed by David Gordon and Michael O'Connell, and it is published by Stonemaier Games.
All right, so you may have heard of a little game called Wingspan.
Just a little game. In passing, you may have heard of it.
They made a few copies of it.
Just a few.
And it only sold a few copies.
It only sold a few million copies.
Yeah, it is a juggernaut. If you are a gamer and you have not heard of or played Wingspan, you are an anomaly. But that's not a bad thing because you've got opportunities to play similar games. It was so big that they made a ton of expansions for it, kind of exploring other regions of the world. They even made a spin-off game called Wingspan, had a similar system that kind of ramped things up a little bit more complex, and it featured dragons, which of course as gamers, who doesn't love a good dragon? But then they also now made this the third game in that kind of that style of game called Finspan, all about fish. And so this is kind of, whereas Wingspan took things up a notch, it feels like Finspan kind of streamlined things a little bit. Added some new elements for sure, so you're not just playing a clone of Wingspan.
Yeah.
But they kind of streamlined some things and kind of dialed some things in a little bit more, so it's just that much smoother of a system. All right, so if you've not played any of them, really quickly I'll kind of explain that basically you have in this particular game specifically, you have this ocean. This ocean is divided into the top part, right? And then the depths, and then the deep depths of the ocean. Then also you have across the top, you have the shore. You have kind of what's the next card? The reef area, and then the deep ocean, the open ocean, I guess I'll say.
Yeah.
And each fish likes to be in certain parts of the land. So when you have a hand of cards, you're going to play these fish out on this board, and then some fish are going to cost cards from your hand to discard. So you're going to discard cards from your hand to pay for them. You also have these fish eggs that you're laying all over the board. Sometimes you'll have to pay a fish or pay an egg in order to play some of these fish. Sometimes fish want to eat other fish, and so you have to play them on top of smaller fish, so that way they can eat these smaller fish and sustain themselves that way. But the game only lasts 4 rounds. Each round you're going to have kind of a special scoring parameter, and then ultimately at the end of the game, some fish have some extra special scoring parameters as well. Each fish has inherent value, but also all of your eggs, your young fish, your schools of fish, and just your fish cards. All this stuff is going to play out into your points, and whoever has the most points wins the game.
You guys all know that I like a good player aid or reference guide, and what I really liked about this game was that the cards themselves were the player aid and reference guide as well. So there were cards that could only be played in certain regions, and it was really nice because even though they showed you that, even the card had like a color on the side that matched the region that it could go in. So if you placed it, basically if you placed it wrong, it would stand out right away. It'd be like, wait, this doesn't match everything else that I'm doing there. But I just really like it when a game takes those little things to make it easier for me to play. You're making it easier for me as a gamer to get your game to the table, to learn it, to understand it, to play it, to even strategize, because I have all these clues on the card about what I can and cannot do with the card. So I just really liked all the graphic design choices because it made it super easy for me as a gamer to play the game.
If you've played Wingspan, again, this is very, very similar in a lot of respects. Every round you have special scoring parameters that you're going for. Now you can have an overarching kind of a plan for your board. I want to get these big fish down here, or I want to get a whole bunch of little fish, or whatever the case is. And you have an overarching plan for the entire game. However, each round, only during that round, you're going to score some other parameter as well. So maybe perhaps you are going to be given points based off how many eggs you have out on the board, or maybe based off of how many predators you have on the board, or whatever the case is. So you might kind of, in addition to your overarching strategy, you might, this round in particular, I'm going to really push the eggs. I'm really going to push the young fish, or I'm going to really push having fish in the top section, in the sunny portion of the board, whatever the case is. So I like how you have these short-term goals and you have long-term goals, and they're both kind of playing together to get you points throughout the game.
And the gameplay is really smooth and seamless. We're just hopping back and forth, playing this game, taking a turn. It's really straightforward what you're doing on a turn, and you're just taking that one action. So every time it's your turn, you're just taking one action. Now that might expand into a lot of things that you're doing in that action, but you're only taking that one action, and it's just very smooth, it's seamless. You have all the workers, they're gone, the round's over, you score, you go again. There's not like, the cleanup is just putting all of these tokens back in one spot. It's so smooth. It's so seamless.
I like how the tokens in this game kind of expand upon like the eggs from the original Wingspan. You had the eggs, which were really nice little wooden eggs, right? But in fish, they turn this. You have fish eggs as well. So you lay these fish eggs, but then you can take an action to hatch them all. So then you have hatching little young fish, and then you can kind of move those little young fish all the way around the board. If you're ever able to move 3 of those young fish all into the same spot on the same board, or on your board, on the same spot. I'm being so weird about this. If you're able to get 3 at the same time, the same area, they turn into a school of fish. And a school of fish are worth more points. So each fish at the end of the game is worth 1 point, or young fish. And every school of fish is worth 6 points. You can see how kind of they basically double in score. And even those can move around or do whatever you need them to do. Or you can even maybe have a really, really, really expensive fish, like the whale shark or something. And one of his prerequisites or one of his payments that he needs in order to get on the board is to eat a school of fish. So these tokens, the way they play out there and move around on the board, is a cool advancement on the original Wingspan egg system.
Okay, so I know what you really care about is, like, how does it compare to Wingspan? Wingspan has a ton of expansions, and so that is just a knock in its favor, right? That a knock in its favor. I'm mixing 2 things.
2 metaphors.
Yeah, a knock is a bad thing, but that's something in its favor.
A notch?
Notch in its favor?
Maybe. Basically, it's got a lot of content for it.
Yes. Okay, but to be completely honest with you, I would rather play Finspan. I really liked this game. I think I liked it more than Wingspan. I know. That's not going to be a really popular opinion, but I just really enjoyed it. They took something that Wingspan was a perfect game. Not saying that it's everybody's favorite game, not even saying that everybody's going to like the game, but in and of itself, of how the system works out, it's kind of perfect, right? And so I am so shocked that they took this thing that I would have considered a perfect game and gave me something that I like better. Like, I don't know how you did that, but it was brilliant and I love it.
So my advice is, if you've never played Wingspan, if you've ever played one of the games in that system, and for whatever reason, maybe you are new to gaming, right? Or maybe you are punk rock like me and you were just like, everyone's talking about that. I don't want to be a part of the very popular craze because that makes me a sellout, which it doesn't, of course. Playing games is just, in and of itself, is pretty niche.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, if you had never played any kind of Wingspan game yet and you need a jumping off point, Finspan is delightful. It is so cool, so smooth, so fun. It's great to look at. It's easy to teach. It's faster to play, in my opinion. But I don't even know why that is necessarily, but all my games of Finspan have been faster than all my games of Wingspan.
Yes.
I don't know why that is, but it is a delight. I love this game. This is my favorite in the series. Again, comparing base game to base game, Wingspan just has some really cool expansions and different things that you can do with it. But guess what? If this keeps on doing well, there are probably going to be expansions for this too. And then it might overtake that Juggernaut. Maybe not in the sales, but in my preference.
In your esteem.
In my heart.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching it. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can follow us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks so much for watching. This game was provided to us by a publisher in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And if you want to see more stuff, check out over here to see something we think you might like.
And over here, we think that YouTube has picked out a great video for you you're going to love. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.